During like the cherry blossoms.
No, I've not done the cherry blossoms yet. I heard
Yeah,
they're
it's like in the spring. I want to say it's like an April-ish type of like yeah, it's early.
I do like cherry blossoms.
To be honest with
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Boat 91. We are talking to you guys about Demetrius and him zoning out on the bus. And why am I talking about this? Because I think we had a really great conversation on Saturday on our super panel, and we discussed it at length. Actually, you had different thoughts, different opinions, and maybe I'll release a little clip of that video because it was really good conversation around what people thought. But he did zone out, and he did disengage from the conversation and disassociate from it. And I want to discuss why he did that, and maybe also why Sabrina didn't also try to bring him in the conversation. Let's have a little discussion around that. If you want to know more about my thoughts, make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated because the streets out there, they are hot. All right, before we get into any more further conversation, let's get the intro going, baby.
Little black book, you know what time it is.
All right, cool. Let's jump into the video. I want to just get it straight here, show you a little bit of clip
it was
what's
a
going
little
on.
awkward for me on this date because like I got Tori right next to me, but then like Demetrius is like right there. You know what I mean? And he's not necessarily engaged.
I want to pause it there straight away. What was her first words? Her first words were, "It's a very awkward date for me because I have Demetrius and Tori right in front of me." Well, if it's awkward for you, it's probably awkward for Demetrius too. That was my first thought. If it's awkward for you, it's awkward for Demetrius too. Being 2-on-1 or being 1-on-2, either way, it can be awkward for a party, right? Now, not only is it awkward in terms of the fact that there's odd numbers, but it can also be in the case of trying to navigate personalities within that conversation can also be awkward. Another thing is also the seating arrangement. The two men are sitting on the left hand side, Sabrina's sitting on the right hand side. Now she's kind of in the middle between the two gentlemen, and they could have he could turn his body a little bit and have the conversation, but then she's also not opening her body language up to a conversation with Demetrius. If you look at her body in the actual shot, which I'll show in a second now,
just hearing everything.
You go hiking?
Yes, I love it. I think the
look at the body language. Where is her body facing? It's not facing open. She's not sitting to the side of the chair. She's literally sitting right forward and facing and talking to Tori. So this can also be a very awkward body position for someone to enter a conversation. I'm offering this because I'm saying that it could be that both parties were overthinking the situation. Both parties were assuming from the situation. I've been in a situation where you've over-assumed the situation and be like, I think it's this. But then you realize when you speak to another person, they saw it differently. And the reason why is because, again, perception and perspective are our own due to our past experiences that guide us when we're having these situations and moments. And I think in this situation, it's a grey area. It's not 100% this way or 100% that way. Now, what we did here was Sabrina saying she wanted Demetrius to fight for her in a sense. And I think I've spoken about this before. We saw this with Winter, the season before, with some seasons before. We've seen this with Kyra some seasons before, where a woman wants them to fight for her. And what she really means is, show me that you care, show me that you want me, desire me in those moments. And I said this it comes under Gamma woman. The Gamma type of woman really wants to be desired and wanted. She wants the man to go out and grab for her, come and collect her, almost in a sense, right? She likes that aspect. And I don't think Sabrina's any different from that. Because when I look at the situation, she didn't open herself up to the conversation, but she also noticed that he was disassociated from the conversation. If you had time to observe that he was disassociated from the conversation, why didn't you bring him in? Because you wanted him to take an initiative to envelop himself in the conversation. But he may be overthinking the situation too and going, well, Tori's my guy, or a guy that is in a group. I don't want to overstep the boundaries here. He's having a conversation with Sabrina. I'm just going to chill back here, right? If Sabrina wants to talk, she knows where I am. He may be thinking that too. I really think this whole situation is all about overthinking and all about assuming what the other person may be thinking. Another situation is also the fact that whilst they were talking, we do see Demetrius disassociated from the conversation. At point, you see it for a few seconds where he kind of like looks over to them as they're talking and looks back outside. Now, I'm gonna say this. I've been in a situation where me personally, where I've been involved in a conversation between two parties, and this is probably a bit more when I was a bit more younger. If I felt insecure about the connection between the two people who were involved in the conversation, I disassociate from it. That's a fear response. That's an insecure response. That's got nothing to do with the fact that I'm a third wheel, but more to the fact that how I feel being third wheel, and I feel like I'm not important in that moment, or I haven't got anything significant to add, therefore let me zone out. Let me give you another example. Some few years ago, I was in a conversation with a guy and a girl, and we're at the house in the crib, and they were talking trading. I had no idea what at this point, I didn't know nothing about trading. Now, they spoke for a good 20 minutes. Guess what I did? I zoned out. I started watching the TV. I let them have the conversation. I started watching TV. Right? Because I had nothing to contribute towards the conversation. Now, what I could have done was glean the conversation and sat there and waited for good opportunities to ask questions and still listen. Right? At that point, I just couldn't be bothered. It was late at night and I was tired and I couldn't be bothered to do that. Right? So there are different reasons why I can zone out because I'm insecure. I can zone out maybe because I don't have enough information to involve myself in this conversation. In this particular case, I don't know what's happened. I don't know what kind of conversation they've had, but what we can hear from Sabrina and Tori is that they're just talking about DC and talking about their experiences. So he could have involved himself, but again, I don't know what he's hearing. Right? So I'm not going to say it's either or. I'm just kind of giving different options as to why Demetrius could have really been zoning out. Added to that as well, right, is the fact that there was no other position for him to go into. There was literally two spaces he can go into, right? Either way, he was not going to win. Right? Let's put it blankly. Either way, he was not going to win what position he went into. Right? Let me just show you what I mean. Okay. At this point, Sabrina's actually already sitting down, and I'm going to show you a clip as to why I know that happens. And AP's sitting down. The two men ahead of them are Tori and Wiley. Wiley decides to sit next to AP. Tori decides to sit next to Sabrina. The girls were ahead, and Demetrius is the last, so he's got a choice: sit in front and sit where on the same side as Wiley, or sit at the back and be opposite facing Sabrina. He chooses the back. Okay, now I'm going to play the clip. I want you to listen to what gets said. You have to really glean your ears to hear this, right? It's important. Let's watch.
Do this thing?
We're ready. Let's go.
All right, welcome guys. Sit wherever you like. There's no bad side.
Hello, darling. May I share a seat with you?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? He said, oh, hello, darling. May I take a seat with you? That's not Wiley speaking, because we can see Wiley's mouth there. That's Tori. Tori's talking to Sabrina. Look at where he's facing. He's facing where Sabrina will be sitting. And so he's going to sit opposite Sabrina. He's going to sit opposite Sabrina. So when Demetrius comes in, he's coming after. He's going to have to make a choice. Sit at the front or sit at the back. Either way, it's going to be the add-on. Okay?
It looks amazing, but Demetrius is sitting in the back.
Now, whether he sat at the back or the front, it would make a difference. He was going to be out of the loop because the two gentlemen had already sat opposite the women. What he could have done, he could have been brave and decided to, hey, Tori, let me shift seats with you, bro. Let me get some talking time with Sabrina. But that would have made the conversation closed. That wouldn't necessarily made the conversation a group conversation. And this is why I said that also Sabrina had a chance here to open up the conversation more and say, hey, Demetrius, what's your thoughts on cherry blossoms? Have you ever been to Cherry Blossoms? Brought him into the conversation. Now, if he then decides then to exit that conversation, you've tried. Then you know that he's having a strop or a tantrum, or he's just not on it today to talk. But you've done your piece. But if you don't open that conversation, I get tired of people saying, you aired me. But you didn't say anything to me. How can I air you? The only way I can air you is if you said something and I dismissed what you said. You want him to show fight. But baby, did you open up the conversation? Because he may be overthinking. You may be overthinking. And this is how we miss each other on these situations. This is how we over-assume on these situations, right? Look, I think Demetrius is one of those deep thinkers, you know. Let's have a look.
Unfortunately, Wiley sat next to me.
Let's talk about it. How old are you?
I mean, AP could have also gone to the back if she wanted. There's a spare seat there. She could have said, Wiley, I appreciate you. I'm going to love you and leave you now. I'm going to just go and sit at the back and have a conversation with Demetrius real quickly. And then Demetrius would have been, then Wiley would have been left with having to try and have a conversation with Sabrina, right? See, the fact that she didn't do it also means everybody knows it's kind of awkward. It's a very narrow walkway. They're on the bus. It's not the greatest environment to try and switch seats without it looking a bit some way. Do you know what I'm saying, right?
How old do I look? It would be nice if Demetrius was closer so that he and I can engage in conversation. However, I want to give Wiley a chance.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to say this. Look, it could be any of the reasons listed above as to why Demetrius zoned out, why Demetrius wasn't involved, why Demetrius was looking to the sky and not looking to anybody else. He could have felt like a third wheel. I think Demetrius is a bit more of a deeper thinker. I think also another thing is this, you know, some people don't like to be competitive in these environments. Why compete? I don't need to compete on the bus. I could talk to you after. I can talk to you on the phone. I could do the work behind the scenes. I don't need to necessarily do the on-camera stuff. And, you know, that could be an option. Another option could be the fact that, you know, bro, I spoke to you earlier on and I just want to think. I want to have some time to just deep my life, you know. It could have been those things. So they're going to have a conversation. I know later on, Sabrina says, you know, but Demetrius is still my number one kind of thing. So it's evident that Demetrius and Sabrina are connected outside of the show. For as far as we can see, they're still pretty tight in some shape or form, right? Because she still wanted to have him as the strongest connection that she said. But you can speculate down in the comment section. Let us know your thoughts, guys. Do you agree? Do you have a different perspective? Do you think Demetrius was zoning out? Like, what's your